a split with the break we're going on, but ladies and gentlemen, finally into pick and ban. Here we go. Thank you for waiting with us. Of course, live EDG on blue. They're 6-0 at the moment, and Suning rising up through the ranks after a 2-win streak. And already you can see the bans targeted towards Bin. He doesn't get his Camille, he doesn't get his GP, and they're making sure there's no solidifying factor in the bottom lane to get Suning into the scaling advantage.
Yeah, I like those bans coming out. Both of them actually signified they wanted that Gnar pick, in my opinion, but Suning answering the GP Camille ban with the Gnar ban themselves. So now just a lot of top lane bans coming through. We highlighted that we think for Suning, the point of attack will be that top lane. And a lot of those comfortable top laners that Flandre finds himself on are currently gone. The only real ones that come to mind, I guess, is Gragas is still open. That is a potential flex. And the Aatrox is there. But I think our attention still, first of all, goes to the likes of the Kai'Sa and then, of course, the Udyr.
Viper's best champion here, one of his most played as well. Feels really nice to see him on this pick once more, so we'll see if the response is just the standard for Huanfeng. The Jiejie has been in the top tiers of LPL play as a great response.
No, we've actually only seen Huanfeng play this champion once. He didn't even find a win on it, but my eyes are looking towards that Udyr, where Sofm is at 100% win rate, has a 7.3 KDA on it, so doing extremely well. And yep, expected first rotation out for the side of Suning.
Sofm looks great on Udyr as well. It was a very funny game. He was an absolute nuisance. And on the other side of EDG, you get the standard response in the Olaf, and you mentioned Flandre's Gragas, although Meiko has played this in the past, so leave it in the back of your mind as a potential flex.
I wonder what Bin would want to go here. So obviously now they're flashing the Aatrox, but another thing that pops to mind for Bin specifically is Bin has pulled out something like the Silas this split, and that's something that could have a pretty decent laning phase, especially once he hits that level 6 mark up against the Gragas. You'd also technically have mixed damage, but nope. Instead, they do want to stick to the standard Aatrox pick, and so far mirrored picks on the first rotation. So maybe we'll start seeing a bit of the support champion pool pinched, because I think both of these mid laners are quite flexible in what they can play. They both have a very similar pool as well. So On is a player who has played a bit of everything, but has played things like the Galio, the Maokai. He's pulled up the Seraphine to where Meiko has been the same Meiko as always. Leona, Alistar, Thresh set. You know he's going to be on an engaged frontlining champion.
Even has a bit of the Maokai in there as well, so a bit of a shared champion pool. I also want to note that On has been a really big lover of the Rel, especially in the Jiejie lane with the Shattering Strike. When you have the Attract and Repel, you get a lot of sustain, a surprising amount out of that duo. So let's see how safe Suning can play it, as they're still banning away solo laners towards the mid lane, not giving that Jace a volatile lane over to EDG. EDG decided to ban away one of the supports of their own in the Rakan.
It seems like Suning are assuming that EDG will flex that Gragas pick to support, which obviously is always available to them, and look for a counter pick in that top lane, something that can bully out the Aatrox. I don't think there's too many matchups that really bully out Aatrox left open other than that Jace, so is a nice ban, and it seems like Suning, once again, with their picks, with their bans, are trying to get Bin into a favorable position.
Can you find anything from here? The Leona ban to follow through. A couple of supports taken off the board. Thresh, a very big one, though, if it isn't a Gragas flex. One of Meiko's best champions of all time. I think he's one of the best Threshers in the league. EG, of course, not going to ban it themselves. They go towards the Azir, which Scout has played many a time, giving away that pentakill champion that actually appeared on the mixtape of LoL Esports recently. So his best champion gone too.
Yeah. If they go support here, I expect either the Alistar or the Rel to come out. Again, more all-in engage that they want to put towards that bottom lane. They're already indexing heavily into running into the likes of EDG, and the Rel is locked in.
All right, welcome to the Rel land. This is going to be game number 5 here for On. Rather, game number 4, excuse me. So, bit of sustain down in that bottom lane. What is the response?
I think Alistar is just a very well-rounded champion, in this meta. Again, provides engage, provides disengage, very tanky, does fine into that lane matchup. And I was going to highlight, it's going to be the Orianna. Late game scaling, control mage, mid laner for Scout. He's going to clear waves. He's going to try and provide prio for Jiejie to play around. Now the question is Angel, because Angel has a very weird champion pool. You know he plays all the control mages. He could always pull out something like the Syndra or Zoe here, but also famously was a very good assassin player. We saw Zakali at Worlds. He used to be known for Talon way back in the day in solo queue. But right now, it seems like they're kind of flexing between these. I do think the Victor, there we go, they lock it in, would be better, because I think they'd be struggling a little bit in the early laning phase. Yeah, and just in terms of the fact that you have this Udyr, right? He wants to get ahead. You want to be able to at least neutralize and match in the mid lane push. You don't want something like a Yone that's going to get hard forced under tower. It makes it very hard for Udyr to find avenues onto the map and find those early duels that he really loves to find.
Well, you talk about duels, and I'm seeing these two teams running head-to-head with very comfortable compositions. I'm expecting duels in the jungle, but also, Lyric, I look at EDG, this is a very standard composition that can run their front to back that has a lot of ability with the ultimates to set Viper up.
They definitely do, right? Again, we have the all-in engage coming from them. They have a very heavy, like, dive-in composition. The thing is, Suning did answer quite well because they picked that Victor. Victor loves that. It's very hard for a Kai'Sa to jump in on top of Victor. He can put down the gravity field. He can put down his ultimate as well. Buys a lot of space with the E as a shield from his Q. Xayah, it's been said 100 times. Everyone in chat knows Xayah does fine against Kai'Sa in these team fights. You want to use your ultimate to kite out her engage. You want to then kite back with your feathers, use that CC. So Suning looking to be the ones playing from range, looking to, again, kite out the engage coming from EDG. EDG looking for all the opportunities they can to be the ones to go in these fights.
EDG, the team that are 6-0, folks. They're 12-2 individually in game score, excuse me. They've dropped 2 games this split. They are on a roll. They are the most dominating team right now in the LPL, and it feels like 2016 summer. When we had Deft on this roster, when they played towards bot, when Mouse was a facilitating angle, this is the EDG you see 5 years later that are facilitating a very similar role. Suning have lost Sorta. They've lost their voice, but they haven't lost their direction. They're 3-3 sitting neck and neck with JDG, and a win here could take EDG off the pedestal and throw Suning back on. As we welcome you towards the Chinese New Year weekend, we're heading towards that holiday very, very quickly. The final weekend of LPL before we take a 2-week break. Welcome to Summoner's Rift. EDG and Suning, a matchup that we have been waiting for. One that should deliver as EDG go for a bit of an invade there. SOFM spotted out, tagged away, and we'll just give Scout 25 of the mana flow band.
I do want to say, even though we are adding a lot of contrast to 2016, I don't feel like this EDG team, even in terms of their wins, is exactly the same. Old EDG was completely dominating the LPL, far and away the best team in it, to where this EDG, let's be honest, they've had some messy wins. They've obviously only won, but they have dropped a few games, dropped to OMG, dropped to FPX, should have dropped to V5 in that first game. It hasn't been quite as pristine, but at the same time, this is still a new roster coming together, and it will take time to mesh, especially when you're adding in those languages. Despite the fact that in interviews, EDG have said Viper does speak very well Chinese right now. Let's remember, he has just started learning. They've also said he doesn't really contribute much in comms. There's still probably a bit of a way to go for the likes of EDG.
Remember that it took Scout a couple of years, right? You know, Scout is the other import on this squad. Another reason why, you know, we've got Scout standing by in the roster, excuse me. I was just kind of trying to think, like, how many years exactly since Scout came on the roster? Of course, since 2016. This is his 5th year in the LPL. And Scout's been a high-class mid laner for quite a while. A pretty standard laning phase to start us off. Trading already in the bottom lane, but my thoughts are towards the junglers on opposite sides of the map that are going to be transitioning and moving to different avenues of lanes.
I mean, right, we're just seeing both junglers full clear. This is completely expected at this point. Both these junglers do clear so fast. Just want to get the full rotation out from their jungle as Meiko just looking for a bit of a trade. So EDG having prio, and yeah, both jungles just getting towards a side where they can safely guarantee their Scuttle Crab, right? I doubt we should be able to see any kind of gank in the top side. It does look like Bin got the crash, so potentially you can angle for a red into Krug, into Scuttle, and then if you're still on that side of the map while the wave is pushing into Bin, you can get off a gank on top, but probably will just be a reset coming out from SOFM and then once again cycling through your camps.
And especially with SOFM, we already talked about it, right? You know, the Udyr pick, wonder why it suits him so well, is that SOFM is not that ganking jungler. You play around SOFM, you play around his aggression and how he invades the enemy map. Rather than expect him to come in and consistently play towards mid, play towards top side.
And surprisingly, we're actually not seeing Bin allow the bounce back to come through. He's just continuing to shove in the wave, so just giving more room for SOFM to get the Scuttle, and that would signal to me that they don't want to look for any shenanigans around the top side. And for Jiejie, he's completely fine with that. He's fine to just trade Scuttles when, again, your clear is slightly slower, as we do see that SOFM, I'm sorry, he's looking for his recall while Jiejie is still just starting the Scuttle Crab. And yeah, this is going to be a bit of a slower paced game. There's no very obvious angles for either team to look to play through.
Unless bot overextends and they've found on. He has to flash, but you're waiting for the trample. Pheromancy Crashdown gets him out. The Blade Caller, great from Huanfeng to save his support. And EDG hit the angle hard.
Like you said, just a bit overextended in my opinion, because they know Jiejie's in the bottom half of the map. Sofm did top crab. Sofm was on his way down now. On could have positioned a bit further back. Looks like they do cancel Meiko though, and
yep, sitting on a 1.
Just gonna get the Q, which is of course gonna give him and Huanfeng the heal. And yeah, now again, it's just we're back to cycling through our camps. I think bot lane is definitely the point of aggression for both teams. It's where the easy CC setup is. Either jungle can look mid, but I think at most you're just gonna end up burning a flash. It'd be very hard with these very low burst mid laners early on in the game to be able to guarantee any kind of kills. Great. And then top's just going to continue to be this. Aatrox's going to push in the Gragas. Gragas not having any windows. Maybe at level 6, Flandre can look for an outplay with like a flash body slam into cask under turret sort of play. But early on, he's just going to be taking the punishment.
But now he'll sit below the CS margin. 10 CS lead here for the top laner. Jungle as well, bit of a CS lead, but we know that from how quickly Udyr clears. Remember, it is still 11.2 guys, so Phoenix is still as strong as it was. And he's going up towards his Krugs right now. I also wanted to point out, Lyric, while the bottom side, we've seen a bit of excess trading. It doesn't mean anything when it's an Alistar who has the inbuilt sustain after 7 minion deaths, when On has Shattering Strike every 2 seconds as well. Not really, but you know what I mean. With the Attract and Repel. So a lot of ability to heal up any excess trading, and means the mistake threshold is a lot larger as well.
It just reminds me of 2020, where you have so many like big, beefy like players in the bot lane that you're gonna see a lot of small trades, a lot of back and forths, maybe summoners, but it's gonna be very difficult to see any full-on kills without jungle intervention or without massive mistakes.
Game continues to be slow on the margin. Jiejie here, excuse me. Control Ward taken out just as he moves past. That's going to give him the little sleight of hand to move in. As this is a jungle gate from Sofm. He's going to the bot side, but on too far forward. He burned his flash in the previous engage. He's accepting death, and they want to give it over to Viper, but thank you, says Jiejie. First blood goes over to the Olaf.
Yeah, I really like the way that EDG played with Fog of War there. We saw Jiejie waiting in the wings for his bot lane to take the control ward. Suning could assume that, actually, EDG want to keep going.
It almost caught out. Sofm doesn't burn the flash. Remember, Flandre teleported down for this, so they want to get something else. If they found another pick, it would be worth it, but he's just losing so many plates on the top side.
They still get a kill onto... I actually didn't see the kill went onto... Okay, it's going to be... Jiejie, I was going to assume it was onto Viper, which would have been worth. This is still fine for them. They get the dragon. Gragas is a very low resource. Oh!
Shockwave explosive cast goes into him, but Flandre takes it away. Now it's definitely worth it, Lyric, because in the bottom side, it's a Ragnarok Olaf. Interrupts the Pheromancy Crashdown, but he's on a blast cone. On surviving, dodges away here from the W. And Suning almost lose a little bit more. 2 kills going over, and EDG's early game is off to a flying start.
You wanted Flandre to find more to make that TP worth it. It's Derrickson, they did just that. Again, going back to the initial play, I love how they abused Fog of War. Suning can assume that Jiejie's on the bottom half of the map, but they don't know exactly where he is. He's right around to punish, and we're going to get a replay of the mid lane. Apparently, Angel looking for heavy trading, using that ultimate before Flandre showed up. Flash for flash, cask thrown quite nicely though, and it allows for the kill to be picked up. Again, I wish we would have gotten a replay slightly before that to see what Angel was trying to do, because a new wave had just crashed, so he didn't ult to try to clear the wave. Like, he was clearly trying to aggress on his Scout, but he must have done it when Scout was full HP, since Scout did still have half of his HP left, and they even knew Flandre was there as well.
Remember seeing it before the trade, actually, though, before we saw bot side. It was just the Chaos Storm used to help clear the wave, do a bit more impactful damage on Scout. And then I believe Scout TP'd back in. Also, to clarify, what we see from Flandre getting the kill was he rushed straight towards the Ionian Boots of Lucidity. So he has a 20 ability haste, plus he previously picked up the Oblivion Orb. So very interested in getting this Grievous Wounds onto Bin and getting some of those trades we talked about before.
It is nice. We need to see, right, Bin be that highlight point for the side of Suning. They should be looking to take this Rift Herald at any time. Their bot lane even just got off a reset if they want to start looking for that one right now. But at the same time, they're not at the strongest point of power. Oblivion Orb coming out for Flandre, so going to have some Grievous Wounds to deal with Bin in this lane. If an early trade did break out on top side, it would be quite rough. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. Also, it was EDG's bot lane that recalled, not Suning, so... Yep. Suning not having the ability to go for that.
We can also just in this small pointed window of I guess lulsativity. I don't even know if that's a word, but EDG are getting closer towards these items, and we have to note that the CS leads are developing across different lanes. Throughout topside, we saw Flandre TP down. Bin stayed in lane and picked up a turret plating and a half, so of course he has a massive CS lead on top of that. He's got a lot of gold in his back pocket over this Gragas top, but what I'm noticing is that Scout already has a 20 CS lead, plus he has the assist on the kill that went down, gets a bit of priority through mid, helps Jiejie to pick up this Herald and move closer towards contesting Sofm for farm and giving some gold value back to EDG.
And right, we've seen all the moving parts of EDG of how they work so far. Again, the control mage in mid, he's been controlling the wave quite well. Aggression on bot side, trying to set Viper and Meiko up for success. And then the thing I love most about EDG is how they have all their parts moving around the map working in tandem. We've seen Flandre affect the map early on with both his play in bot and play in mid. We see EDG use their prio bot to head up towards topside to guarantee that Rift Herald for the likes of Jiejie. And it just feels like Suning are very much shut out for early game options. And they're at the point where they just need to let hey, we're just going to scale. We're going to wait for those later dragons. We're going to try to need to get set up. And again, we have the Xayah, we have the Victor. We want them to walk into us. The thing that's awkward about that is Udyr doesn't really serve any role in that sort of composition.
He has to hold his flash and then, I guess, hit anyone who tries to escape after the fact. So, you're right. There's some weird tandemness with Sofm. I want to move past what we've seen in the early game, and I want to look at what could potentially happen because that Herald is still in the pocket of Jiejie. I want to see what lane he optimizes and pushes it into, and which gold, where the gold actually goes, because he's hanging around mid for now, and Meiko's roaming.
I was going to say, Hysterics, this is LPL. It's always mid.
And a flash comes through. Of course, in LPL, we flash for our kill. Shockwave pulls him back, and Jiejie takes the kill. Under, thanks to the Chaos Storm and the Gravity Field. Meiko gets tagged down to half, but Jiejie's still here. They pick up the kill, and they walk back for now.
You know, that's a stat we need to get from our stats team, is what percentage of Heralds are used mid? Because I would bet it's probably up in the, like, 60 to 70% range.
Well, this is just going to add one more, isn't it? Thank you for the gold to Scout. Gets the push down. And, I mean, Scout picking up the gold. This is a big mid lane advantage. Right now, mid lane diff. Angel's getting bullied around by top laners, by supports, by jungle.
I was going to say, can you call that a mid diff, though? Can you really call that a mid diff when we've had Flandre,
mid is a lane,
Meiko,
not a player,
Jiejie?
you know? Ambiguous. So everyone's there. It's mid diff from a Scout's point of view.
Feels like you're saying it's team diff.
It's team diff. Yeah, right now it is. Give everything to Scout and you'll put yourself in a 1k gold advantage. That's EDG at 11 minutes in the game. Also, we have Gore Drinker versus Iceborne Gauntlet. Frostfire Gauntlet. God damn. Lyric, Sofm's the only person to really do this. He likes experimenting with his items, and this is one of them.
We have actually seen this pulled out by other players. I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of this build. I'm not quite sure what it really sets out to achieve on Udyr. It makes sense that you're not going for the Turbo Chem Tank in this build when we've highlighted he's not really the one running people down. I guess with the Frostfire Gauntlet, you can be kind of using your autos to try to slow the engage coming out from the likes of Meiko, Flandre, or if Viper does ult onto the backline, but...
Okay, teleport used as Dragon's going down. Flandre just wants to capture the wave, but Sofm's up here, waiting for the barrel to do the most damage as Explosive Cast deters the play. Sofm bopped against the wall. I think he could die here, Lyric. He has to walk away. Flandre's still low, and Bin wants the final touches. He's waiting, but the wave's gone. Has to back away. Scout TPs for the kill. Now Bin is on the wrong side of Summoner's Rift, and it's Scout versus him with no World Ender, but a Shockwave at the ready. Bin over the wall, Flandre there, body slam, waiting for that Shockwave. He gets pulled on in, and for Suning to pull the play back, Angel needs to come on in. Over the wall, Bin follows, but he goes to his death, and Scout picks up another one for EDG. It's a 5-0 start.
Amazing play coming out from Flandre and Scout. Hysterics, at this point, I'm starting to think that, you know, people in chat should take a drink whenever I talk about how hard it is to dive Gragas and you shouldn't do it. Drink of water, of course, I mean, family-friendly broadcast.
I'm about to say they're going to overdose at 25 minutes into the game.
That's what I was going to say. But yeah, just again, this champion is so irritating. It gives me flashbacks of Season 7 spring, when it was in the meta. My team, Hong Kong Esports, where I am, we're playing against H2K. We were picking this champion every game because it is so irritating to deal with. It is so safe in lane. Again, it's very hard to dive. It can buy so much time. We're going to take a look here, though, as Bin and Sofm try to go in. They try to take it slow, which gave time for Flandre to get a nice barrel on the mains. Very clean flash out from that, the Q coming out from the likes of Bin. We see Scout coming with the flash, very easy QW combo to secure that one. And now Bin left in such an awkward position. Body slam back up for Flandre, leads into the shockwave for Orianna. Bin is so low, he can just finish this off with a combo. And now Angel not in a position to really deal any damage.
And Scout was already getting all the resources from EDG. Now he picks up 2 kills, he teleported for the kill, he's got the 30 CS lead still there. This is a very strong early game from EDG with a 2k gold lead, and I think Jiejie, Scout, people you can't really mess with right now. Flandre on the Gragas, who was down in CS and still is, but picks up the kill and has that item on the way. So, I don't know what you can say right now, Lyric, about EDG.
It's there, so I was going to say, this is probably one of the best and most dominant games we've seen from EDG, because EDG actually have quite a long average game time. They do not play fast games. They do not look to stomp you. It's like we talked about, right? It's about those neutral objectives. It's about those 5v5 team fights. And this is the game that can give those EDG fans hope,
nice.
you know, like those previous seasons.
Explosive cast was used really nicely. Flandre kites away the second, the third, doesn't get pulled back in with the Infernal Chains, and Flandre, he knows he's the weak side. He doesn't care. Pulls out the World Ender and just walks away.
Didn't even proc the phase rush, I think, to get out of those Infernal Chains either. Was just able to maneuver quite nicely and get out of there on his own. And we're going to see EDG transfer their pressure from bot lane. They push in, they move towards mid. They're going to be able to secure this turret. And this should even out to more vision in the top side jungle. They do already have control wards there, so they can look to pick members of Suning off if they do look to contest. But it does look like they're just going to back off for now and prepare for that Herald that's about to come up.
Because it'll be theirs. They have a different of mythic items. You will see the top laner in Flandre pick that up shortly. Jiejie, of course, we already talked about the Gore Drinker and then some. Scout went back for the Liandry's Torment and is currently about 1,800 gold, excuse me, over Angel. On moving into River, he shouldn't be here. Jiejie's going on to him. Herald is getting started. Our Observer catches half of that, is on at half health, and Flandre moving in. Meiko ready for the engage.
Viper is on the complete other side of the map, though, so this would be a numbers advantage if Suning can be decisive right now.
Will the items make a difference? Sofm trying to zone him off. 3k here for the Herald. Flandre ready to go in. The engage not started is on. Starts it with the Magnet Storm and right into the middle. That's the gravity field. On absorbs the damage. Healed up plays 80 carry. Meiko on the back line is the snipe from Viper. Brings some retribution, but that was perfect from Suning.
It was great to see, right? You talked about it, the rail combo into all the damage coming out from Victor. I mean, your ultimate serves a very similar function as the gravity field from Victor. Sets up for the ultimate as well. You layer down the laser. 2 nice kills for the side of Suning. Sure, you lose on in the process, but you were also able to pick up the Herald. And with the disparity that your team was facing, that is as big of a win as you can get.
Oh yeah, this is massive. As EDG talk about the numbers disadvantage, and they force the fight from Suning's end.
Yeah, On jumps in. We already saw him pop his ultimate. The gravity field and the ultimate from Victor layered down as well. The death ray also came out to just kind of give that extra inch of damage. As well as, guess what? Huanfeng was there. He was free hitting the whole time, and Viper wasn't.
Shockwave also went wide there from Scout. I believe the Featherstorm flew at the same time. So Huanfeng was fine as the 2-0 Xayah after the fact. Let's not forget that you already talked about what Suning's comp can do to negate EDG. They want them to come into them. And someone like Huanfeng is going to be the person to dish out the damage after the CC lands down. So this Xayah in a very comfortable position now, despite the early game. As EDG come back, they are going to pick up the Dragon, and they're going to be on Salt Point. That's another thing. EDG still have a lead, even after all said and done.
There's one thing I do want to point out with the interaction, assuming Meiko doesn't go in, but Meiko does go in.
SOFM's tanky though. Shockwave doesn't connect, and that's a lot committed to go forward. Over the wall. Ferromancy crash down from On. Gets him out of the way, and no Shockwave, but again, no objective up to punish.
Even when we think about Huanfeng's safety with the Featherstorm, the annoying thing is there's a lot of things you actually need to keep your eye on. And EDG can actually just layer their CC, obviously, at different times to try to bait out that ability, right? Alistar engage, Gragas body slam, Gragas cask, Shockwave, Kai'Sa then being set up to follow in with her killer instinct. Like, you aren't able to... It's going to be very hard figuring out a correct time to use your Featherstorm when there are so many different ways that EDG have to force that ability out.
Every single ultimate, rather, every single signature ability, I should say, feels like it can impact that ultimate. So Huanfeng's going to be a hard game ahead. I want to reiterate while you were talking there, Herald was placed down in the mid lane. It didn't actually get the charge. That Herald was kind of lousy. I don't know if it was timing out from SOFM's end, but I don't think it was really at that time.
Watch your language. Lousy.
I said the L word.
We don't say that here.
What would you say? Crap? Bad? Meager?
This broadcast is getting too toxic, sir. Lousy.
I'm sorry. It's just a word I've never used. I feel like I'm in Brooklyn
would say
or something.
it wasn't the keenest Herald in your words.
I'm not even sure. Keenest?
Yeah.
Okay. Like, not keen on it. You weren't keen on the Herald. Okay,
exactly. Right. I don't know if that's the correct way to like change that word, but
that's all right. You know, we're trying to learn Mandarin at the same time trying to learn English as well. So that's the best part about the LPL English broadcast.
There's a lot of Portuguese words I can throw out there to describe it, but again, maybe not broadcast friendly.
You know naughty Portuguese words, so let's hold on that one. English aside, and as we're kind of learning our baby steps, I want to point back to what we're seeing in the bottom of our screen. We've got a gold lead there for Scout over Angel. That's still about 2,000 gold with the kills acquired. Bottom lane's even. Top lane is more even than you'd expect, but Bin still gets a solo turret, the first turret of Suning's game 1, and pulls to about 600-700 gold in his favor. So it's a bit neck and neck in some areas, but mid right now is making the difference on the scoreboard as we now turn over to 20 minutes in the game.
I also love that we see Flandre going for a full damage build, bringing out the Night Harvester as well. So he's going full AP. He's now going to be an explosive force in these team fights. The problem is, he's not going to be that tanky. He should get bursted out quite easily by the members of Suning.
He's going for deep wards here. SOFM just pulling back. We've got 2 minutes till Dragon comes up. And that Dragon's going to be a Cloud Dragon. EDG pushing down the turret as they find an opening. It's going to be turret number 2. And gold moves back to close to the 3k. As we saw before. Excuse me. But I noticed that Scout has his second item. The Archangel Staff just about to turn into Seraph's Embrace. It's going to be very strong 2-item Orianna. In the face of the Baron, the Dragon Soul in a minute 45. EDG have a lot of tools as well with the Night Harvester. And, you know, Lyric, I was talking to you before, EDG's comp wants to go in, and with the item advantage, it does feel like it's a little easier to maybe execute this comp.
That's the thing. I feel like EDG just have too many tools with what they are able to do. And sure, Suning can theoretically play out through side lanes with Aatrox, but Aatrox isn't a champion that's going to be able to reliably hit turrets in the side lane. Maybe he can hit that that bottom side inner turret, outer turret, I'm sorry, but he won't be able to take an inner turret. He won't be able to take an inhibitor. So it's still going to be about pushing and roaming for him. It's going to be about him trying to disrupt the backline of EDG, or even, I'd say more so, trying to peel for the likes of Angel and Huanfeng. Yeah. Because if he does get onto Viper, Viper can always just ult out. He can always just ult forward and try and be in line with where Meiko, Flandre, and Jiejie are. So Bin's only real target in the backline would actually be Scout.
I like that you highlight Bin, especially with the person that has one of the bigger leads alongside Huanfeng. That flanking angle for an Aatrox is great. He does have flash as well. He has the teleport in hand. So you can see sitting around the bottom side, not really worried about where the fight starts out. A lot of these side laners are just pulling out the waves and waiting. As SOFM walks over a control ward, Flandre is out of there. He has Night Harvester, so waiting to body slam, gets the movement speed, and Explosive Cask is now down. 25 seconds till Dragon. It has a moderately low cooldown though, Lyric. So we'll see if it's up before the fight.
Remember, he has Night Harvester, he has Phase Rush, he has a ton of movement speed just between those as well. The Body Slam provides him distance, he has Flash, but we do have Dragon coming up right now, and right now EDG are the ones with full control.
Flandre just tracking, look at that. Sneaky Gragas in the bush. Viper pushing out the mid wave, Dragon is now live, and this is Soul for EDG. Suning have been pushed back into the mid wave, and EDG now group up as 5.
I'm kind of surprised we don't just see Jiejie start that while the rest of EDG try to zone the members out from River, because it's very hard for Suning to walk in, as SOFM just runs right past them, actually.
He's got the movement speed,
God.
He doesn't care. It's not
he has to run out. He has to run out right away, though, Hysterics.
He's thinking about it, though. That's the biggest thing. He's like, do I go in? Do I go out? We got a Cloud Rift, so he's using the movement speed quite well. Bin's the only person here, and EDG are now finally going to start it, pulling the Dragon out, but Scuttle gives vision over to Suning.
Yeah, we need to keep our eyes on both Angel and Huanfeng. If they can be left untouched, as they just give it up, huh?
Okay. Well, thank you for the soul, says EDG. We'll work towards the Elder, and I guess Suning think of the scaling and the way the comps work as it's fine to give this up. It's not something like an Ocean Soul, and the comps are still going to work moderately the same.
I'll be honest, I feel like scaling in the game does transcend the actual soul itself. Like, I guess if you're playing perfectly, right, you should be able to take advantage of an Infernal, a Mountain, an Ocean, maybe even a Cloud, and be able to tangibly close out a game, but still, the likes of a Victor, the likes of a Xayah, if they hit those item breakpoints, if they're able to hold on long enough to take that Elder fight, it should be fine. The problem is, though, your Victor's only on 1.5 items. Your Victor is nowhere close to a point where he feels like he'll be able to outdamage Scout, who is already at that Seraphs like you talked about. Sure, Huanfeng is strong, so he could be a massive force, but it still feels like EDG have way too much control, and it's like what was said in the pregame. Whoever can get a good position first is going to win these team fights, and EDG always have control of mid-wave.
And now they're going to try and push in topside. There's teleport coming through. Suning have found this out, but the shockwave just destroys it. 2 kills for Viper immediately as we've got On getting pushed in. Flandre in a bad position. The Feathers will fly and kill this Gragas. The explosive cast doesn't do too much, and at half health, the bottom lane there. And Sofm walking in, maybe not the player's bin, gets a multi-man knock-up into the World Ender. But EDG don't care. They've got a 1-for-1 trade in front of the Baron, and now we'll see if they can find anything else.
I want to say, though, we still saw Gragas Cask do about 40% of Xayah's HP.
Very true.
Full AP Gragas is an interesting lad. This Viper wanting to play very aggressive, but EDG not going to take the bait. They are just going to keep controlling vision around the top half of the map. They should be looking to clear out the control wards that Suning placed down, and they should be able to get this turret for free with all the members rotating.
Scout's going to take this down pretty fast here with the AP conversion. Remember, this is a 2-item Orianna who is so elevated in this game. So rest of EDG controlling the area while he pushes it down, gets more solo gold in the form of 300. And Sofm just trying to take away things that shouldn't be his. He's going to get the Scuttle Crab, so at least that gives some control for the time being, and just kind of being a nuisance in Jiejie's face.
And we are going to get a replay of what transcended. We do see Meiko going in with the Orianna ball. The shockwave comes out along with just the burst from Kaisa. Flandre TP'd in, does get chunked down, has the Zanyas. I think at this point it was only a stopwatch to buy time. Cass comes out, barrel plus Q combo, like I said, 40% of Xayah's HP, but EDG not able to reliably follow up on that one.
No, they're not. So it is a trade in the end for Suning, which when you're the losing team always feels better. Lyric, I just want to quickly come back to what this soul means, and with the Elder coming up in 3 minutes, with Baron sitting there, what it could mean for Suning, because you talked about how EDG's comp would like to engage, like to set up and go into Suning. Suning like that, but EDG can reposition with the Cloud Soul, especially with Viper's ulti, with Jiejie, with Scout's ulti as well to get the movement speed. Angel going too far forward. This is a mistake. Killer Instinct. What is Angel doing there? 0-4-1. And now for EDG, they want to continue the fight. Viper is humongous. Onto Bin, half health, 2-man headbutt pulverized. As Sofm and On have to watch their step. That could have cost Suning everything.
It definitely could have, and we do see EDG going to Baron. We've highlighted this many times. When you have Alistar, when you have Gragas, your turn potential is absolutely insane. They could run right into Suning. Sure, Suning, they want to be run into, but they need to be the ones running into EDG. Now that EDG are on the Baron.
Using the ball to zone here as the flash on from On. Going for Flandre. It's the top lane Gragas though. The shockwave set up by 2. Low health bars blinking as the Baron is secured. Flandre giving up his life where now Jiejie Scout can walk forward. Meiko with the engage. Hits in midair. You're not going anywhere. The feathers don't fly and neither does Suning this game. Sofm running for his life. The Udyr should not be chased unless you're an Orianna with phase rush. He runs for his life through the Cloud Soul Rift. Viper snipes him, but it's not enough damage. He's still running, ladies and gentlemen. The bear has legs as Scout wants to blindside him. Close call, flashes away. Sofm gets out, but I'm not sure the Baron is going to do any less to the base.
Hey, we saw the value of the Frostfire Gauntlet in that situation. He got the slow off on the Scout, but you're right. EDG at least going to be able to take an inhibitor, I'd assume, but actually going to back off and just go for the spot side turret. It is quite surprising when, especially now, Bin is showing on top wave, but EDG trying to take this methodically, taking the passive gold and get on the map. They probably have a ton of gold in their pockets. Gonna buy, going to hit those item spikes even faster, and come back out onto the map. Well, it's cool to see that Udyr, though, like the, again, the slow. It paid off, Hysterics.
True.
You're wondering, huh, Frostfire Gauntlet comes out, what's this gonna do? and it helped him in one instant. But let's get a replay. Let me stop rambling.
Oh,
they go in the mid lane. You talked about Angel walking a bit too far forward. They are able to find the engage onto Angel. They tried to get the stun with Huanfeng's feathers, weren't able to find it, and yeah, that pick snowballed into the chain of events that we just saw on our screen.
Viper onto Sofm. Not going to use a killer instinct. The Udyr can run away or at least slap you in the face. Getting slapped by a bear, wouldn't recommend it, ladies and gentlemen. It could hurt. I think importantly to note as well, Viper using the invisibility to juke. That was sick. And this is a 3.5 item Kai'Sa who's really big, as EDG Scout saw that. He saw them in the brush. Meiko baiting it out. Suning, we're trying to do a little bit of a flank as Viper. It's killer instinct time. Once again, the Magnet Storm is used. He goes golden in the middle of the gravity field. On in perfect position. Viper flashes away as Bin follows him. You're watching this Kai'Sa because it could all hedge on this one player. Scout's already picked up a kill on the backside onto Huanfeng, and Bin can't get near him. Viper needs one more hit as Scout picks up the triple. Teleport away, and Suning are running scared.
And Scout completely cleaning up that fight. Let's be honest, Hysterics, this pick on our screen doesn't matter too much. If Sofm goes down, who really cares? But you know what? Take it away. Take it away.
I don't know. I think Viper's going to kill him in the end. He thought, I can juke these two. And there you go. 4 out of 5 dead. Angel teleported to get away. Elder is free. And EDG are holding the best title in the LPL right now for a good reason.
And Scout completely carried that fight. Viper put himself in a really bad position, but it didn't matter when Scout arrived and picked up that triple. And this looks like it could potentially be the game if EDG were confident to press it. But instead, we know how EDG are. They aren't going to push for more than they can get. They just got a bunch of gold. They want to buy. They want to have even more disparity between items with Suning. And then we could expect to see that top lane push coming through.
Meiko is looking as good as he did with Deft. I'm just going to say that. This feels like he just works so well with these import AD carries.
We see him go in, but again, I think this is kind of dicey. They go a bit too far forward. I want us to keep our eyes on Scout because he's the one that finds Huanfeng. He's the one in this situation who wins the fight, in my opinion. Flandre as well, also zoning out Sofm, buys Scout a lot of room, and sets up for this triple that he is able to pick up.
Scout on the back end, Viper and Meiko together on the other end. Flandre just having a great time, meanwhile, with Jiejie. EDG in game 1, this has now become a stop. 30 minutes in, closing it out with the Elder. That's going to be pretty easy if they find the next fight in a minute 30, but for now they have priority across the map. Suning scared to leave their base, and they just want to pick to try and delay the game out, if possible.
Yeah, they're just kind of hoping for the best at this point. They are so far behind that realistically, any fight that happens in any way, EDG should just be able to come out ahead.
Oh, no.
And Flandre just buys some time with his gas.
And they're going to find the fight on the back end. Onto Bin. I'm not sure if the healing's going to be enough. The Gore Drinker used already. Forward goes Jiejie. 2 down in an instant. Flashing forward, Meiko just pulverizes the ground. Maybe to troll. Timo thumbs up from Sofm. You cheeky bear, you. But Suning only have 3 members, and I think EDG are going to try and end.
Yeah, they're just going to be able to go for this one. Suning can't do anything.
On to the Nexus turret 1, 2, they're sitting at base. Reserve the KDA, but who even cares? Huanfeng out with the feathers to fly. He goes golden, but EDG knew this was over. Meiko dives to secure the kill, and EDG slap him in the face like an Udyr.